Welcome back to Today in Rocket Science. I'm Adam Balkin. When it comes to education, more and more of the research shows us that a one-size-fits-all approach doesn't work best. So when an NYU professor couldn't find a summer program that worked with her own son's educational needs, what did she do? Well, she started her own. It's an educational program for students with special needs, and they're learning all things STEM.
So many of these kids with special needs like autism, ADHD, learning difficulties, that they all have an amazing knack for technology. They could actually be producers of culture and technology.
The program teaches them a range of STEM subjects, from coding to engineering. Today, the students are learning 3D printing.
3D printing works as like you make a design in SketchUp, then you have to convert it to another program called MakerBot, and then you print it from there, and then it prints the actual thing.
3D printing is where you take an item that you make in SketchUp or any other application, and instead of making it on a piece of paper, you make it out of the printer. Is that MakerBot replicator too that does the model in plastic.
Beth says she hopes this program works to give these talented young designers a real opportunity at an important STEM career.
If they're 17, 18 years old, they graduate high school, but maybe they can't make it through college or community school, that maybe their resume will just be packed full of programming skills like HTML5 and JavaScript and Python, and that these students will be employable.
And for this student, at least, it seems like the goal of STEM career might be right on track.
I'll be a computer programmer. It's a big thing for me because it makes me want to change for a job in the future.
At New York City's Museum of Modern Art, students are getting an unusual opportunity to practice their STEM skills. No, it's not a coding competition or science fair. It's actually an art show. Our Stephanie Simon visits the gallery.
It's an experience meant to introduce teens to art, but this year it's getting them connected to more than just the canvas. The theme? Technology.
It's not just technology, it's taking technology and using it as a springboard of bringing kids into modern and contemporary art. So this summer we collaborated with a really amazing organization called Baby Castles. It's a really amazing group of artists, and they collaborated with us to create a fully functioning video game arcade. All of the games were curated by the students, and they created an entire installation of fully playable video games.
In the making is an annual program and art show. This year, students combine programming and engineering with art. You might expect art and video games to intersect visually, but these young engineering artists say it goes far beyond that.
I helped build the wall, which encases the monitors for the screen. It's also like the support structure and what you see. I think most of us, when we signed up, we thought this was going to be about creating video games and not so much about the art and video games, but rather we learned that it was actually creating an environment for playing these video games.
But that doesn't mean some techie knowledge wasn't still needed.
I was helping programming the game so then they could work on some of this stuff. We had to use a program called Auto Hotkey and JoyToKey so that we could get the controllers working so then the game, so then we could use those to play the game instead of using a keyboard.
A hands-on lesson to show that art and science are everywhere.
It can be a mural, it can be a rock wall, it can be video games, it can be anything you want.
From this experience, I see that if I ever want to go into the video game industry, I have a long way to go, but I'm looking forward to the road ahead, and I know that I'm going to find it very enjoyable, programming and doing anything that helps.
This season was the program's most popular one yet, with 86 teens participating and 300 applications. For It Ain't Rocket Science, I'm Stephanie Simon.
Now, if you think a museum is the only place art and technology work together, think again. One young entrepreneur combined those two things to start her own business.
I was a fine art major, but I also double majored in human-computer interaction, so I've always been interested in merging the arts and technology.
CHRISTINA Mercando is the CEO of tech startup Ringly, a jewelry company for the digital age. These rings are more than fashionable. They're wearable tech. When you get an important notification, your ring lets you know.
We wanted to create something that women would love, both from the technology standpoint and then also from a jewelry standpoint.
We caught up with some young tech execs at an event called Online's Day Off, a panel discussion between mentors and mentees, all business entrepreneurs. What do these businesses have in common? Technology, of course.
But what we've developed now is a technology-enabled fashion world, and it's totally brand new. You can do things like create what we've done, the biggest clothing brand in the United States ever launched on the internet. And so the truth is we have to be both. So to be dorky about it, what we call ourselves is a technology-enabled retailer.
And these startups aren't the only ones embracing technology. We caught up with a few tech titans at events around New York City. Here's what they said about why tech is important for you.
Don't be afraid of this technology. As we move forward in life, everything is going to be connected, eventually almost everything in your house. You see it today, thermostats are now connected, your appliances will be connected. Everything will be connected, and you're going to need to know how to work within that world.
Anything we can do to make sure they know that it's cool to go there and that being a builder is something special, and I think technology is going to do nothing but get more important, not less important.
All right, we have to stop here for one more quick break. Then coming up, it's back to Congaree National Park in South Carolina, where students are finding STEM in the midst of this swampy lowland. And we'll tag along with some students who are checking out what lives beneath the surface and take a dip in All Matters Marine. To find more hands-on science, technology, engineering, and math opportunities in your community, visit connectamillionminds.com during the break.